Hey, welcome to the show, or thanks for tuning in today, guys. I got a great guest. His name is Clark. Little fun fact about Clark is that Clark and I have had dim sum, and he has orders the most random, bizarre things that you can find on the dim sum menu. Ox beef or ox stomach is probably one of his favorites, and a little bit of beef tendon as well. You want to say hi to all our listeners?
Hey, how's it going?
Awesome. Thanks for sharing your time with us today, sharing your truth. I'm looking forward to doing this with you.
Yeah, no
Uh,
problem.
one thing you guys don't know about too is this is Clark and mine's second go, right? Clark was the very first guest I ever had on the show. It was trial and error, and so I had to get him back to kind of make up for it. So what I like to do, how I like to start every episode is what's one thing you're grateful for today and why?
I don't know, just freedom. Just I don't know. It's freedom to have choice, right? It's one of the things when I went to Germany. It was one of the things I was absolutely grateful for. After I got back, I realized, like I didn't ever. I went and seen all kinds of things. If I would have been drinking or using, I probably wouldn't have left that one hotel room for my whole trip there. So that was one of the things I was grateful for, right? The freedom that came with being sober, and being able to go out and explore everything, remember everything.
Making memories, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome, awesome. One another question I like to ask every guest is, what was your childhood upbringing like?
Oh, I had a great childhood. My mom and my father divorced when I was two, and then after that, my stepdad came in, and like I hit the lottery there. I couldn't ask for any better. Both of my parents worked on site, so I had anything I ever really wanted. I chose this lifestyle because I don't know, I just wanted to be bad, I guess. So yeah,
Yeah,
it was great. I had anything.
yeah. Any siblings? So were you close to, like,
I got a half brother, half sister. Yeah, for most of my life, we none of us really talked.
did you grow up with your mother then, or your
Yeah,
father? Yeah, well, obviously you said stepdad, sorry. So
yeah,
you
my
grew up with
mother.
your mother. How old were you when your parents split?
Two,
Oh,
two
so
years. Yeah, played a part in my story though, for
yeah,
sure. I wasn't sure how to take that.
yeah, it makes sense. What about? Did you stay connected with your father?
Yeah, because he lived like when my dad split up. I went up north, so I was like 5 hours away. So I didn't get to see him like all the time, but I'd get like a month a year, and it alternated between the summer months, right? Either July or August, and then Christmas every second year. So it was just all right. I guess it was a little hard to get to know somebody and then get taken away all the time, but
That makes sense. So childhood was good. What was your first experience with drugs then,
oh,
or alcohol?
I was my very first experience with alcohol would have been camping. I was young, like probably 5, 6 years old, and just having a sip of beer, just because we were out camping. And then from there, yeah, it was good until I hit a teenager. And once I was a teenager, and I was all on my own.
Yeah. At what age were you when you, I don't know, deliberately took it? Like willfully, like.
Oh, probably I don't know. I started smoking at like 12 and drinking and using drugs by 13.
Do you
By
remember?
15, I moved out of my parents' house and was selling drugs full time. So it didn't take long.
Yeah. How did you get access to it, or what was that? Can you share with us that experience, like your first time?
Uh, just friends at school, right? And then like good friends that I hung out with that were a little bit older, and then they introduced me to their older friends, and yeah, things just took off, right? It seemed to be a thing too, and like I grew up in a town way up north, so it was all bush and lots of bush parties, and they young kid comes to bush party, and everybody's trying to get them loaded and get them all messed up, right? So it wasn't very hard when you're a young kid out there.
Yeah, makes sense. Um, when did you start finding yourself like wanting to take it, or and maybe steal it, or
Oh,
do it willfully on your own, right?
geez, so like I said, I started at like 13. By the time I was 15 years old, 14, 15, I moved out of my parents' house. Yeah, I was selling drugs full time, right? Like it was, like I said, it was very quick for me. I started, yeah, selling drugs, so I didn't have to steal it. But I mean, even, yeah, I remember being a young kid and, yeah, stealing money. My Fright Center, right, every week was like a common thing, right? It was part of my amends, actually.
I get it. Yeah, when I was 12 years old, like I had no way I was smoking cigarettes. I couldn't afford it, and we like our school or our class used to like count the pizza money because every Friday was pizza or something,
Yeah.
and we were always skimming off the top, right? And just kind of had to support my addiction or feed that friggin' monster somehow, right?
Yeah, a
And
little mobster from the beginning.
yeah, like I was a little crook, right?
Yeah, oh, me too.
I was a crook. When'd you start selling drugs? Like, what were the drugs you started selling, and
No,
were
I
you doing
started
them?
selling weed, smoking weed, and then yeah, I never really wanted to experiment with harder drugs. Yeah, I started with weed, and then moved up into. I tried mushrooms, didn't really like it, then into acid. And from there, yeah, things started to take off. But never got into hard drugs till I was like 18 years old.
Did you finish school and then?
No, no, never did finish.
Okay. So at the age of 18, then kind of experimented your first drug. What was it? Do you remember the experience?
Uh, I don't even think I was 18. I might have been like, yeah, probably close to 18. No, I would have been like 17, I guess, just around people and then trying coke and then moving on. Uh, I didn't really care for it. I didn't like the way it made me feel. I didn't, I wasn't big into drinking. I like smoking weed was my favorite, and then until I found this crystal meth in the street, and then it's like a long lost friend there. So as a kid, I was on Ritalin, so already into an amphetamine, and when I found it on the street, it was yeah, everything did all the same things, right? Calm me down, let me focus. I could do amazing things, and that was the beginning. That didn't last too long. By the end of that, it was yeah, I wasn't too focused and just really angry.
How old were you when you got introduced to the speed?
I was 18 years old. I just got out of jail. Uh, my friend actually, it was New Year's. New Year's, no, I would have been 19 years old. New Year's 1999. So 2000 when it came in. My buddy just got released New Year's Eve, and I met him, and picked him up, and yeah, he introduced me. We talked about it while we were locked up together, and yeah, I wanted to try it, so I tried it New Year's. And then that was it. It was like every time I could get up here to get it back in Edmonton because I lived 5 hours away, so I used to drive up like almost every weekend or every other weekend. It didn't take long.
I totally identify. I was 16, met a guy in jail. It was his uncle. Met a guy we met outside of jail,
Mm.
and then his uncle introduced me to it anytime I could. And I remember it like I talk about in the introduction podcast about myself and my first experience was I did it and I was laying in bed and I didn't understand the high, but what I did was I felt normal,
Mm.
and that was kind of the scariest part is like looking back because it made me feel normal. So I was doomed right from the get go, right?
Yeah, I
Um,
can relate.
yeah, you said you were got out of jail. Were you in and out of jail lots or getting in? Did you get into a lot of trouble with the police younger?
Yeah, I did. I did. When I turned 18 that summer, uh, which is part of the reason why I ended up in jail. I got like arrested like 17 times in half the summer. So like every second day for breaches for like drinking. Right? Like arrested off the highway, sleeping on the highway, and like just crazy shit. I look back and it's like I'm amazed I'm still alive. Some of the shit I put myself through and other people, right? So yeah, it's amazing. Like my parents and shit stayed beside me and never forced any treatment or anything on me, which is like I'm grateful for today because if they would have forced me into it, I would have just really quickly proved it didn't work and been done with that, right? So today, where would I be? I don't know.
Yeah, fair enough. How old are you today?
I'm 41 now.
Okay. How old were you when you got introduced to when you went to treatment or got introduced to treatment the
Oh,
first
it was
time?
10 years ago.
Okay.
Well, the first time, geez, no, I got forced to go for a day program. I think I would have been like 25 years old, 24 years old.
Was that so? I just kind of want to like recap a little bit here, just fill in the gaps here. So from the age of like 20 there, where you kind of started doing the speed, I guess, right? To your first experience in treatment at 25 ish.
Mm.
What was life like in that period?
Well, again, I was just a drug dealer, right? In and out, trying not to get caught, fucking losing everything. I wasn't kind of basically go from house to house, live with my girlfriend, her parents, couches, wherever I could go, right? I didn't have much structure in my life at all. I used to, I'd get jobs every now. like weird jobs. I had one where I was working at a farm where we like painted tanks and Nisku, and I used to work 4 days on, 3 days off, and I was so afraid that I'd be late for work. I wouldn't sleep on my days I worked, and only sleep on my days off. And yeah, it was just a mess, man. My life was nothing to be proud of.
It becomes a lifestyle, right?
Oh yeah, my poor dad came to visit one of my friends who I got really mad at the time. Phoned my father and told him that I was messed up and whatever. He should come and get me. So he showed up, and I made him sit in a parking lot and wait for like 10 hours until I could sell my drugs and re-pick up before I went home with him because I knew he was taking me back to McMurray. So I was like, yeah, made him sit and wait and back. And it's like, Jesus,
Uh,
probably not the best thing a kid could do, eh?
that's the past, right? And we don't know any better at that time, right? Like I did some dumb shit too, and
Oh,
I get it. At 25, when you got introduced to the program, like, was it your choice? Did you know anything about?
oh, I didn't get introduced to the program, and I went to the treatment center and did my 5 days. Actually, you're supposed to do like one day. You're supposed to do it like in a week, but if you had to miss a day or whatever, they'd let you come back and do it. And I think it took me over like a month to get it done. So like every week I missed a day. So yeah, it wasn't. And as you could do it, it gets if I had made Monday, I didn't have to redo Monday. But yeah, I couldn't make some days. It was like crazy. So yeah, it took me like a month to do it.
Oh wow.
5 days. It's like yeah, show up every 10 hours or something stupid. I couldn't do it.
Looking at your clean date today, what is your clean date?
September 22nd, 2012.
September 22nd. So you're coming up almost on 11 years in the next 6 months or so.
Not September. Sorry, it was February. February
February.
22nd. Yeah.
Actually, I should know
Yeah.
that.
I
I should know that. But
yeah. Yeah. I don't know why I said September, but yeah.
do you want to share with the listeners some of your bottoms up to that clean date there?
Oh, I lots of stuff, man. First time getting arrested. First time. Every time was a new bottom, but I just didn't know how to stop. Right. Best friend getting murdered. Um. Yeah. Watching. Not being able to. Like hang out with his son after his son was born. Like he never got to meet his son, so I tried to be part of that for a little bit too, right? And just wasn't allowed. His mom didn't want me around if I was using and stuff. I could never stay sober to go and hang out. Every now and then I might be able to do it for a day or something, but there was no long stretches I was involved. Now it's a lot different. I don't know. I've had quite a few people overdosing, almost, chemically overdosing, piss and blood, and still not being able to quit. Right? Wouldn't even go to the hospital, and I lived like 2 blocks from the hospital, like to find out what's wrong with me, right? Just that denial, and I could beat everything. So it was a little weird. I don't know.
Did
There's
you ever
lots of them.
did you ever think the drugs were the cause of any of it, or?
Oh yeah. Well, I used to always. That's one thing I got comfortable doing right away was blaming the drugs, right? And admitting that's part of my story. I had no problem admitting I was an addict either, right? For me, it was like a permission to be whoever I wanted to be. Like, what'd you expect I was going to do, man? I'm a fucking drug addict. You know that. Like, for me, it was just a way out, right?
Mhm.
So,
Almost like people use when they say I was drunk, it doesn't count, right? Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Just a different substance.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Well, okay. So you're talking about. I want you to kind of share with us your bottom before, and then your introduction to recovery here for this clean date.
It's kind of weird. I didn't actually hit my bottom, I guess, until I was in treatment for like 26 days, right? I wasn't using in treatment, but I'd gotten myself in some trouble. I got caught with lots of drugs on my way back to work, selling drugs and working in camp. I figured that'd be a really good way to make some money, so that's what I was doing. And then I got arrested halfway there, and it was just a tiny little town, and they like tried to make an example out of me, so they're asking for a long time in jail. They wanted 7 years out of me, and I didn't want to do that, so I bothered my lawyer enough until she told me that if you're in treatment on your clean on your court date, they'll just won't pull you out of treatment to put you in jail, so they'll let you finish your thing and give you a new court date. For me, it was just a way to buy another year. Like I had no intentions of quitting. I ended up going into treatment they didn't want you to use before you got there. Like I used right up till I got there, and yeah, once I was in there, it was just, yeah, something else, right? And my roommate overdosed and died. And that was the second friend of mine that had passed away. One overdosed and one was murdered. And at that point, it was just, I was the junkie, the low level junkie. She was a prison guard, so I kind of held her at a higher standard. And yeah, once that happened, it took away all my denial, right? And forced me to deal with both of those deaths. I thought I dealt with both of them, but obviously I never did. Well, I dealt with hers when it happened, but his I never dealt with until, yeah, I was in treatment and actually went through the mourning process. I just used drugs to cover everything up. And then once that happened, then I actually wanted recovery. And then after that, I just kept it going, right? I got a weird little thing where, one a week, a month, whatever, 8 months was nothing to me. I've stayed 8 months. Well, probably not 8 months. I probably stayed like 6 months sober when I was in jail because who the fuck wants to be awake in there? Not me. I'd rather sleep my time away. So yeah, once I hit past that mark, right, and it was the longest I ever been clean, then it meant something to me. So that's what I would do, and I just keep pushing it, see how long I could dig it. And then after about a year, I just didn't want to use no more. Like I didn't. I valued it. Finally put a value to it. So that's kind of
Cool. I wanna touch base about that. How long did you go to treatment for?
42 days.
Sure.
42 days out in St. Albert. I went to Pound Makers. Loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the tipping point was your friend passing away, which is sorry to hear about that one.
Huh?
Um, what was your drive? What motivated you to kind of stay on this path?
Just the benefits after seeing like the way life was, right? Like, and I don't know. My first couple years, I didn't really have much choice, right? I was on a conditional sentence order, so if I would have messed up, I would have ended up going to jail. So I just stayed on that. That was my main motivation, just not to go to jail. And I kind of used to always like place a time on, be able to use at that date. I'll go for a year and then I'll use. And then after I got to the year, it was like, well, maybe 2 years, then 5 years, and then it was 10 years. And yeah, I just passed my 10 years, and I don't, I don't see it as a viable option, right? Make sure the thoughts come, but I can get rid of them pretty quick. I know what happens. My job's gone, everything's gone. It's not gonna take me long, right? I know how I use. I might not be like that in the first week or month or whatever, but I'm guaranteed by the end of 2 years, I'll be homeless again, selling drugs, or in jail.
Yep, totally. It's progressive, right? And
Yeah.
100%. What was some of the goals? So drug court, again, I know a bit of your story, and that's why I can say this. With drug court, I totally forgot where I was going to go with this one.
I actually didn't go through drug court. I had sponsees that went through drug court. It's an amazing program. They wouldn't take me in because of I tried to get in there multiple times. I had my lawyer try for like better part of a year to get me in there, and they wouldn't take me because of violence. On my charges were violence and driving related, so they weren't taking me.
I have a sorry, I'm just going to kind of back this up, not to cut you off. Um, so how long did your court thing go on, and that you had to stay clean for before? How long did you have to stay clean for before your court was
All
resolved? I
finished and
guess. Yeah.
resolved. Um, so from the time of my crime, it gave me a year till trial, and then it came time to go to trial, and that's when my lawyer was like, "Hey, we got to go to trial here right away, next month or two. Like, what do you want to do?" And that's when I started harassing her, and she told me, "Well, if you're in treatment," so then I went to treatment. So that first year was like nothing but party. I just wasn't ready to go. That's why I wanted to keep partying, so I didn't want to go. And then after I finally went in, I had a year before it came to court, and then I had what did I have? I had a 2 years suspended sentence with like three conditions, which was amazing because of how well I had done in recovery. They just kept me going. Right, I had three conditions: was keep peace and good behavior, attend AA meetings, and report as directed. Couldn't ask for a lighter sentence, right? That was like the lightest sentence I ever had. So that to me kind of proved recovery worked. So then it would have been 2015 by the time all that was resolved in March. And yeah.
So that took a couple years. So you had to stay on the straight and narrow no matter what for those first few years.
Yeah, and I guess the court still wasn't really done because even after I was sentenced and stuff for that, I fought impairs and then I ended up having to plead guilty to them. And I had like 3 years on a blow box. So, it was,
In that first year, what goals did you set? Like, what were once you kind of
that's funny. Like, that's also part of my story I share, right? Is when I was in treatment, my counselor was like, yeah, make a list of everything you want out of recovery, right? Like, what's your goals for life? And it was not like in the first year or nothing like that. It was like for life, right? So I thought I did a good job, and I spent like 3 days really thinking about this and wrote out this big list, and we had to share this list. And then by the time I got to my first year of recovery, I had everything on there except for the wife and the house. It was like it just showed me how short I sold myself. And then yeah, so it's like yeah, get my be able to start driving again, get a car, just all kinds of little stuff, right? Um, yeah, it was amazing. Yeah, there's I don't even remember what was all on that list, and that's one of the things too is part of my story, right? My house burnt down, I lost everything, like all my early recovery work. I don't have the paper copy of it no more. So, and it's sad but true. I mean, the amount of the drugs that I did, I don't have the best memory these days. So, and I wasn't in the shape to remember anything then anyway. So, I don't really remember all the things I had on there, but I know I had it all except for the wife and the house. So,
good job?
mhm.
So with 10 years here, you go through lots of shit, ups and downs in life, and things like that. What are some things you've gone through that and you've come out the other side sober? Like,
Uh, well, one of the important things that I don't know gets talked about enough in meetings and in treatment, like was when I was in there, they had us do like a relapse prevention plan, right? So, and it was identifying things that were going to trigger us. So, for me, like I knew going to a concert was going to be tough, and it was actually. You were at my first concert I went to, and like I remember thinking, like I could just sneak over there, get a beer, nobody would know, right? I didn't because I was with people in recovery, but the thought was definitely there. So yeah, concerts, death in the family, just all kinds of things, right? I identified them and made a plan for how I was going to approach that stuff, and then I had another plan in case that first one didn't work, and so when I actually went through this stuff, which I did, my mother passed away, my house burnt down, I almost died myself in a car accident. Like those are the three major ones, and they were like 8 months apart, three consecutive in a row. And yeah, I managed to make it through, right? And all I had to do was follow that plan, right?
can you share that plan with our listeners for people that might be struggling? What did
I
you
just
do? Yeah.
basically became a newcomer, man. I stayed in contact with the people. I just did what I had to do, right? I went to meetings. I shared openly and honestly. I couldn't actually go to the meetings right away in the after the car accident, but by that time I was like 5 years sober. I took my fifth year in the U of A hospital. All these people showed up with a cake and a medallion. I had a home group out of in another town that used to come. They were on a Wednesday night, and they used to show up on Thursday night to keep me included, right? Like so, like you talk about true friendships and how to be a friend. That was all taught to me in the rooms. But yeah, it was just basically put myself back in newcomer, right? Pick up that phone, call people, even though I couldn't go to meetings. Like I had to go out of town for my mother's funeral. I just talked to people all the time. I was present. I was there. And then, yeah, when the house burnt down and stuff, I share openly and honestly about what's going on, right? I don't keep things secret or hidden or whatever. This is my time. I go to that seat if I need it. I share openly, right? Like I'm not. Sometimes I'm there to get the message, not to give the message. It all depends on what's going on in my life, right? So, just having the freedom to know and do that is like it's amazing, right?
Hmm. I'm gonna kind of ask you some questions here, recovery based. I'm gonna
Yeah.
switch over to this. What do you do for fun in recovery?
Oh, it started out actually with like disc golf. Me and another member started going to play disc golf, and then yeah, I got hurt. And my shoulder was messed up, and then I thought that was pretty much over. And after I had my shoulder surgery, it was disc golf actually helped lots. It stretched it out. It was really really hard to get used to playing again, and it wasn't very good for my score because I could not no control. But definitely helped me strengthen. Um, I know we go camping, we do lots of stuff, right? I love the bush. I grew up out in the bush, so like dirt biking, snowmobiling. I get my adrenaline all different kinds of ways, right? But they're healthy today, so that's amazing.
Yeah, that is cool. That is cool. And then you know what? Every time we do something new, it's an experience, right? So
Oh yeah.
I had to figure out how to do that myself, right?
Mm.
I thought I liked skiing when I was 25, and then when I went on the chairlift, I was fucking scared shitless. It was I'm like, let's just pull this thing down, at the guard so I don't fall out. What are you passionate about today?
I don't know, dirt bikes. Like I don't know, man. I just loving life, right? My recovery is one of the main things, like giving back, right? Service work was like huge, man. In early recovery, yeah, held me accountable, kept me sober. Chairing a meeting on a Friday night, man. Fuck, there was lots of times on Thursdays when I got paid. I thought about using, but I couldn't because I wasn't gonna go to that meeting, and I wasn't gonna leave the meeting, and that stuff kind of stuck with me. Giving back any way I can, right? Changes the way that I feel about myself. I do good things. I think good things about myself. It's amazing how that works. I today I don't know. I spend money. I buy the certain things here, and I make keychains for like people that take their first year cake and stuff, and make sure they get a keychain, and they just kind of just little things that I like to do that make me feel good. Just give back.
That's kind of where it's at, right? So
Yeah.
that's where it's at. I like to ask this one now. Um, do you have any role models or mentors in your life?
Yeah, for sure. One of them would have been Wallace, right? Like he started iHuman and let me come in there and volunteer, and that was one of the places where I first started giving back in early recovery, and I kind of got credited hours towards my sentence for it too, right? And then after I was done that, I just kept going anyway because it was a nice experience there, and he stood up for me in court and helped me out, and I still keep in contact with him today. Uh, but yeah, just the stuff he does for people, right? He's all about high risk youth and making sure that they have a safe place to go, that they're cared for, and the man's just amazing. He's a fairly old fella, and you can call him at like 3:30 in the morning, and if you're not feeling safe or there's something up, he'll come get you. Like it's just amazing to see that there's people out there that did that, because
Mhm.
where I came from and the lifestyle I lived, the only way I was coming to get you is if I figured I could rob you for some more, right? So it's just nice to see those people, right? And then there's people with multiple years when I got here, right? You were one of those people, like just to see the things and to watch how far people's lives could progress was just amazing, right? So yeah, there's lots of people I was looked up to, right? My
Awesome.
sponsors, and yeah, today.
Awesome. Um, Here's another one. Do you got any life mottos?
Life mottos. Yeah, keep coming back. That's
I,
the
I like the
biggest one.
simple little ones,
Yeah,
I like all the simple shit.
yeah, keep coming back. And service work, man. Like I don't know, I can't thank service work enough. It's just it changed my life. Right, I could if I didn't, nothing changed. Right, and obviously it's all about me. So service is all about someone else. Right, I'm not always all about service. I still get to be about me today too, but there's a way healthier balance than there ever was. So
Makes
it's just
sense.
yeah, do what I got to do. Right, and that's pretty much it. I don't philosophy on stuff too much.
Do you got a higher power in your life today?
I do, yeah. Yeah,
How hard was it to like develop that? Did you struggle developing that
I did
connection?
very much so. Talk about higher power and in the meetings and stuff. It's like God, and yeah, I didn't grow up with a very pleasant God. He was always going to freeze my tongue and do stuff like that, and he was going to punish me. And I kind of still believed in God as a kid, and that happened. And then when my best friend got murdered, I was like, yeah, like God can't exist. But he was finally, he was like sober. He had his first job, had a girlfriend, had a baby on the way. Like, he never got to meet his son. Like, yeah, it just, yeah, messed me up. So I just had a lot of hatred for God. And then when I went to that treatment center, I chose this treatment center I went to just because it simply had a CMA panel in it. Probably not the best way to choose a treatment center, but made me comfortable and worked for me. And in there, it was native based, and I really identified with the way the natives looked at spirituality, and that worked for me. So that's kind of what I adopted.
Oh, cool. Here's one I never asked anybody before. Um, if uh, if you if failure wasn't an option, what's something you would do?
If failure wasn't an option,
Yeah.
reach out.
What do you mean?
Well, if it depends how what kind of struggle I was in, right? If I needed to reach out, call somebody, man. Ask for help. Like that was the biggest thing, man. I didn't have to know everything anymore. My way didn't get me very far. So when I didn't know what to do, one of the other, I guess that's another motto. Like when I don't know what to do, the best thing I can do is nothing. Sit in it. The answers will come, right? Or the best place to be in early recovery. It's uncomfortable. That's the best place you could be, man. That's when you're going to change, right? If you're uncomfortable, you're willing to change, like right now. That's the best way for me to change.
Yeah. Cheers to that one. And
Yeah.
I like that answer. I like that. What's something that? What are some goals you're working towards today?
Oh, um, well, I'm finally ready to buy that house. Uh, I just on my 10th year, like on my cake, the company I was like working hard at for like 7 years to get hired at. I didn't want to be a contractor no more. There's a big difference in pay and everything, and they finally offered me my job on my cake, so that was like extra special thing there too. Um, yeah, I'm just excited to see what happens. Right, I don't have too many plans. I've got a couple of things, but I just want to, yeah,
Fair enough.
get them before I talk about them because
Yeah. Okay.
you know.
Okay. If you talk about it, it'll make you more accountable. It'll push you.
Oh yeah, I know, but
Just saying.
it's already done. It's just I gotta wait. I just gotta wait for it to get here. So it's not here yet. So
Fair enough. So this one I like to ask males. How do you self care?
how do I self care? I just take the time for myself, right? There's, I have sponsees, and some of them try to give me a hard time because of recovery and how it works and everything like that. But I mean, today I'm comfortable enough and I'm in the shape in my recovery that if I need to step back and take some time to chill out, I can do that, right? Being with my job too, I don't get to make meetings all the time. I have to travel up north. I work 3 days, 3 nights, six off, so I don't get a whole bunch of time uh, when you're talking traveling. So yeah, I've had to step back a couple times and just chill out and reevaluate and change my motto and change the way I view things. Um, Self care for me is just taking the time to enjoy stuff, right? Taking the minute to appreciate being outside, breathing. I've had some close calls there, and yeah, some things I took for granted. I used to think it was easy to be in a wheelchair. Today, I know that's not true. I had to experience that to find out.
Yeah. How do you deal with loneliness? Like,
Ah,
can you be alone without being lonely?
I am, yeah. I'm quite comfortable in that today. I don't need to be around people all the time, right? There was a point where I was even early recovery in the meetings, I was still alone, right? Like I didn't feel, and it was all my mindset. Had to change that, and then things were a lot better, right? Today, I don't always have to be alone. I've always got a higher power, friends, anybody, right? If I'm going through something, there's always someone I can talk to about it.
So you and me. Oh.
Yeah.
Are you spontaneous at all?
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah. Very compulsive, very compulsive. Oh, I can decide to do things on a whim and get right on them. I can, I don't know. There's some things that are, I don't know. Today though, things seem to work out for the better. Like 2020 years before the pandemic started, there I on the whims found a dirt bike, and the girlfriend wanted a dirt bike, so I bought her a dirt bike, and then that gave me a reason to buy myself a dirt bike, and then I bought myself a dirt bike, and I bought her one in January or February for Valentine's Day, and then I bought myself one a couple of weeks later in March, and by May I was laid off and dirt biking in the mountains for the summer, right? Like so, I don't know. I'm pretty easy to drop what I'm doing and change. Now with work and being full time, I can't really do that too much. But I get vacation and stuff, so things can change really quick. So
This is true. What's your kind of friends look like, or who do you surround yourself with people today? What kind? Not what kind, but who do you? Yeah.
my friendships, you know, most of my friends and the people I hang out with on a daily basis are mostly in recovery, right? Aside from the people I work with, there I can't really choose them too well. That's up to the company. But for the people I have close to me, it's usually sober people. That being said, I do still talk to some people I grew up with from my past. I just don't. I make it a point not to like hang out with them for a day or a couple of days or a week or you go do it on my own where it's like a half hour as soon as I've had enough, I'm out. If you don't like it, too bad. And today one of the descriptions that define whether I'm willing to be your friend or not, if you're from my past, is if you try to get me to use or anything suggested, that's it. I'm not coming back, right? Like if you don't respect me or my choices, so I'm done.
Hmm. Yeah, that makes sense to me. Cut. Cut.
Yeah.
Just like that, right? What were some? So I'm gonna just ask a couple more here. What were some unexpected gifts of recovery?
Uh, I don't know. The biggest one that stands out, man, was like my car accident. Right, I had one at 9 months sober, and I remember being like pissed right off about it, man. Uh, in the end, though, it actually helped me out. It got me out of working, let me focus on my recovery for 2 years. I got paid to do it. That was a huge gift, right? Again, it was just my perception and how I looked at things that had to change. Now I look back and it's like, yeah, you know, I had some great circumstances for recovery that let me keep doing this, right? And again, it was all by choice and how I viewed things. So uh, I had that one. I don't know. Unexpected gifts of recovery. My girlfriend, she's not in recovery. She's a normal person, but she doesn't use. My sponsor told me that would probably that this could happen, or you could meet someone in the rooms, or you'll meet someone and she'll care enough about you that she won't use. And even though it was told to me, it was like okay, because I would have never done that, right? So to meet somebody that actually did that, it's like amazing. Um, and then yeah, the earliest one was being in treatment center, right? And I was there for like I don't know 30 days or something, and a friend of mine, well, he was somebody I knew at the time, and he's was a friend of mine after that. He basically told me, man, that as far as the people in the treatment center, he thinks that I probably changed the most, and like I didn't see that, right? To me, I didn't feel that, so that was an unexpected gift, and helped me realize, that early recovery, I needed someone to point something out to me before I would accept it and go with it. And someone had to tell me that before I'd believe it in myself. Like it's just crazy, but yeah.
Cool. I got one more question for you here. First thing that comes to mind, fill in the blank. I am responsible for.
My life and how I present it, right?
Fair
My
enough.
recovery is the biggest thing, and I can hide about anything. I can stay and just use and cover everything up, and I'm just not being truthful. So, today the best place I can be is honest and open, and that's what keeps me in recovery.
Yeah. I think we're gonna wrap this up at this point.
Yeah,
What's something you would love to leave the listeners that we haven't?
I don't know. Yeah, just keep making yourself in those uncomfortable, healthy situations. It's where you're gonna learn the most about yourself. Right? That's probably the best advice I have. Yeah.
Stay uncomfortably. Kind of
Yeah.
like your mother, right? The
Yeah.
uncomfortable. What was the saying you used to say? You want to share that one?
Oh yeah.
How do
When
you
you
describe uncomfortableness?
where you're yeah, the uncomfortable it'd be like where you're uncomfortable but your mom would be proud of you. That's the uncomfortable you should be in.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing your time with us today, Clark.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it. Thanks for sharing your truth. And, I really enjoyed this, and I think our listeners do too. So
Yeah.
I'm going to leave this with you. I'm going to leave this with the rest of you the same way I end every episode is make lots of memories, take lots of pics, and show the world your smile.